Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive, where we kind of dive deep into a whole bunch of information.
Yep, that's us.
That's us. We take a big stack of stuff and break it down into the most important pieces.
Yeah, into the bite-sized pieces.
Bite-sized pieces, exactly. And today we are focusing on the future of TikTok in the U.S.
Yeah.
Which is a story that's been generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah, for good reason.
For good reason. I mean,
Yeah.
the Supreme Court just made a pretty major decision
Huge.
that could completely reshape social media as we know it.
It's a turning point, yeah.
It really is. So the Supreme Court upheld this law requiring TikTok to be sold by ByteDance,
Right.
which is the Chinese parent company, or face a nationwide ban
Yeah, starting this Sunday.
starting this Sunday, January 19th.
Yeah, it's a tight deadline.
It's a tight deadline. I mean, huge implications.
Yeah.
So let's start by kind of unpacking the core issue here.
Okay.
Why is the U.S. government so concerned about TikTok in the first place?
Well, it boils down to national security concerns. U.S. officials are worried about the vast amounts of data that TikTok collects on its users
Right.
and the potential for that data to be accessed by the Chinese government.
Okay.
So there are fears that this information could be used for anything from surveillance to, shaping public opinion.
So it's not just about teenagers sharing dance videos, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
It's a high-stakes geopolitical game
Exactly.
with the future of a hugely popular app hanging in the balance.
Yeah, and it's put the Biden administration in a tough spot
Right.
because they recognize the cultural influence, and the economic significance of TikTok.
Yeah.
But they're also under pressure to address these security concerns.
So sure.
So their stance has been that TikTok can stay, but only under U.S. ownership
Okay.
to try and mitigate those risks.
Which brings us right back to that Supreme Court decision.
Right.
And it was a unanimous decision too, right?
That's right.
Which speaks volumes, I think, about the level of concern across the board.
Across the board, yeah.
So what was the core of their legal argument?
So essentially the court ruled that the law requiring TikTok to be sold doesn't violate the First Amendment,
Okay.
the protection of free speech.
Right.
So they're saying that the potential threat to national security outweighs those First Amendment concerns.
In this particular case.
In this case, yes.
So freedom of expression versus national security.
Yeah.
It's a real clash of priorities, and it really sets a powerful precedent,
Absolutely.
I think, for future cases involving tech companies.
Yeah, especially those with international ties.
Absolutely. So this decision could have ripple effects across the entire tech industry, leading to increased scrutiny and potentially tighter regulation for other platforms as well.
Yeah, it's really opening up a can of worms.
So what are the possible scenarios that could play out from here?
Okay.
Is a complete ban on Sunday a foregone conclusion?
Well, there are a few potential paths this could take.
Okay.
One possibility is that users will find, creative and potentially frustrating ways to bypass the ban.
Like what?
So things like using VPNs to
right.
mask their location
Right.
or changing their app store settings.
Okay, so there's always a workaround, right?
Right, but those can be pretty tech-heavy solutions.
Yeah, do you think everyday users would go through the trouble?
I think we'd see a mix.
Okay.
I mean, for some users, the desire to stay connected with their community, the fear of missing out,
Right.
or even the potential impact on their careers, that could drive them to try these workarounds.
It goes beyond just casual use for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
It's about livelihoods and creative expression and staying connected.
Exactly. But for less tech-savvy users, navigating these workarounds could be a significant barrier.
Yeah.
And even if they do succeed, there's no guarantee these methods will be effective long-term.
And let's not forget about the political wildcard in all of this.
Oh, right.
Donald Trump, who takes office again on January 20th,
Yep.
has publicly promised to save TikTok.
Yeah.
Could this be a last-minute campaign promise he actually keeps?
It's certainly within the realm of possibility.
Okay.
The incoming administration could push for a political compromise,
Okay.
perhaps delaying the ban's implementation or even seeking to overturn it entirely.
So it's really hard to say what will happen.
Yeah, the political landscape surrounding this issue is very fluid.
So we've got user workarounds, potential political interventions. What about TikTok themselves?
Right.
What actions might they take to survive this?
Well, there are a couple of scenarios to consider.
Okay.
One source suggests they might temporarily shut down the app on Sunday
Really?
as a strategic move,
Oh,
with plans to reactivate it quickly if some kind of last-minute solution emerges.
That's a bold move,
It is.
but it would definitely demonstrate their commitment to staying active in the U.S. market.
Exactly. And another point to consider is that they haven't shut down their offices yet.
Right.
So this suggests that they're preparing for a range of outcomes and are ready to adapt.
Okay, so it sounds like they're staying optimistic. But let's be realistic. What would life after a TikTok ban actually look like?
Right.
Would users still be able to access it?
So even if TikTok disappears from U.S. app stores,
Yeah.
existing users who already have the app downloaded might be able to use it for a while.
Okay.
But without crucial updates,
Right.
the app would become increasingly unstable
Yeah.
with glitches, bugs, and eventually it just wouldn't be usable.
Right. It wouldn't be the same TikTok experience.
Yeah, it'd be a shadow of its former self.
And then there's the possibility of a sale,
Right.
though it seems less likely at this point.
It does, yeah.
So ByteDance could still choose to sell its U.S. operations to a company based in the United States.
Right.
This would effectively address the national security concerns, but it would also mean that TikTok as we know it would be under new management.
Yeah, big changes.
Big
A
changes.
huge question
A
mark.
huge question mark, and that's what we're going to keep talking about, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, it would be a pretty dramatic turn of events, a sale at this late stage. But let's say the unthinkable happens.
Yeah.
TikTok just vanishes
Right.
from the U.S. digital landscape. Poof!
Gone.
What happens then? Where do those millions of users go?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's hard to say for sure,
right.
but I think history offers some clues.
Yeah.
When Vine shut down, for example, a lot of users migrated over to platforms like Instagram and YouTube.
Right.
So could we see a similar kind of exodus with TikTokers just scattering across the internet in search of a new home?
It's possible we might see some TikTokers try to rebuild their presence on existing platforms, but it's unlikely any of them can truly replicate that TikTok experience.
What is it about TikTok that's so unique?
Yeah.
Is it more than just the algorithm?
Right. TikTok's success isn't just about its algorithm. It's also about the community and the culture that have organically grown around it. You know, that sense of shared experience, the trends, the challenges, the inside jokes. These are all elements that contribute to TikTok's unique appeal.
It's that feeling of belonging,
Right.
right? Like you're in on something special.
Exactly.
And that's not something you can easily recreate, even with a technically superior platform.
Precisely. It's a reminder that social media is about more than just technology.
Yep.
It's about human connection.
And this whole situation really highlights a much broader tension, I think, that we're grappling with in the digital age.
Yeah.
It's the balance between national security concerns and freedom of expression.
Right.
It's not an easy equation to solve.
No, it's a complex issue with no simple answers.
Right.
On the one hand, you have legitimate concerns about data privacy and foreign influence.
Oh, sure.
But on the other hand, you have millions of people who use TikTok for entertainment connection and even their livelihoods.
And for a lot of creators, especially younger ones, TikTok is their primary platform.
Yeah.
It's where they've built their audience, honed their craft, and in some cases, found their voice.
Right. So a ban could have a significant impact on their careers and their creative output.
Absolutely. And it raises questions about the future of online creativity and expression.
Right.
How do we protect national security without stifling innovation and limiting access to these digital spaces that have become vital for communication and community building?
It's a dilemma with far-reaching consequences.
For sure.
And the way the U.S. government handles this situation will likely set a precedent for how it approaches similar challenges in the future.
Right. It's not just about TikTok.
Right.
It's about the future of the internet itself.
That's a key takeaway here. I think
Yeah.
this case could have a ripple effect,
Uh-huh.
potentially leading to greater scrutiny and regulation of other tech companies with international ties.
Right. Even if you're not a TikTok user, this story matters.
It's about the delicate balance between security and freedom in an increasingly interconnected world.
And as we navigate this complex digital landscape, it's more important than ever to stay informed and engage in thoughtful discussions about these issues.
We need to think critically about the trade-offs involved
Yeah.
and consider the potential long-term implications of the decisions being made.
Well said. It's a lot to process, for sure.
It is.
But that's why we do these deep dives,
Right.
to break down complex topics and give you the information you need to form your own opinions.
Exactly. And in this case, it's especially important to stay informed because the situation is evolving so rapidly.
Yeah.
New developments could emerge at any moment, particularly with that Sunday deadline looming.
Yeah, it is a rapidly changing landscape for sure, and we're all just trying to keep up. But
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I think it's time for our signature deep dive thought provoker,
All right.
something to leave our listeners pondering. So what do you have for us today?
Well, assuming TikTok does disappear from the US, the question I keep coming back to is this. What will fill the void? Will another platform rise to take its place, perfectly replicating that short-form video magic? Or will we see users disperse across different apps, fragmenting the community that made TikTok so unique?
That's a great question. It really gets to the heart of what makes TikTok so compelling.
Right.
If it goes dark, will something organically emerge to capture that same energy? Or will it be a case of trying to fit square pegs into round holes on platforms that just aren't quite the same?
Exactly. And it'll be fascinating to watch how the digital landscape reshapes itself in the wake of such a major shift.
Yeah.
Will existing platforms try to capitalize on the void left by TikTok, or will entirely new players emerge offering something fresh and innovative?
So many possibilities. It's a reminder that the digital world is constantly evolving, and even giants can fall.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be keeping a close eye on this story and bring you updates as they happen in the meantime. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.